to some movements. I want to spend some time on some side kick series exercises. It's not the complete series, but I think it's enough to really help us get some benefits. Front and back, up and down, circles, inner thigh lifts, and circles. The benefits and the reasons that we want to do this is because it lengthens and tones the thighs, the hips, and the abdominals. It also promotes balance, so teaching us how to work our legs from our center. And it also helps us to stretch the hip and buttocks when we get to that inner thigh area as well. So let's go ahead and get set up. I like if you're practicing this at home and not with a teacher, I think the best way to do it is to put yourself against a wall. So when you lay down, you'll have your shoulders and your hip, your elbow and your head against the wall. The other hand comes about 6 inches in front of the chest, and then bring your legs out at an obtuse angle there. What you want to make sure is that you're not rocking forward, so then, like this bottom heel is up. So that's not getting my hips in alignment or stacked, because we want the shoulders and the hips stacked so that the box is nice and stacked. So this bottom leg is not only reaching long, but it's also pressing down into the floor. So I have to make that active. And this hand as well is pressing down. That helps me so that I'm not, coming on and off the wall. All right, so once we have that set up where everything's against the wall, your hands on the mat pressing down, that bottom leg is pressing down. Now we can start to create some movement that's gonna happen. So let's take that top leg up and you'll bring it forward and then you'll bring it back and tap the wall. So the range of motion isn't the most important thing here. It's keeping everything organized as you move the leg back and forth. Bringing it forward, and if you come too far forward and all of this rolls forward, or your heel, you've lost that heel on the bottom foot, this one rolls up, you can no longer stay keeping it pressing down, then that's too big of a range, right? So you have to manage the ego a little bit and work where you can keep everything organized. Back and forward. And we want some natural breath here, right? So just make sure you're not holding your breath. You can do about 10 repetitions. Then you'll seam the heels together. So as we go through these 4 exercises, the beginning part is always with the legs back together. So now we want to externally rotate the legs so that the kneecap points up towards the ceiling. And from here, we'll start to lift the leg up and bring it down. Again, that bottom leg is still pressing down into the floor. So really being mindful of that. And you're really stretching the leg long out of the hip. And you're really reaching it even longer on the way down. Again, notice if that bottom leg comes unweighted. Sometimes our mind will think to something else, or we'll get lost in the movement and forget to hold that. So the next thing we want to do is circles. So we'll come forward and then back to tap the wall, and then come forward, back to tap the wall. So again, that bottom leg is pressing down the whole time, so be mindful that when you go forward, if that leg starts to come unweighted, you want to not go as far in the next one, right? So find your feather's edge where there's just enough work you can keep things organized and not run amok. Good, so we want to reverse the direction. So we'll bring the legs together, make any subtle adjustments that we need to, like if we're starting to lose the neck, right? And then we'll reverse it. Keep that bottom leg pressing down. This top leg has worked quite a bit, so we'll stretch it out by stepping that foot in and taking hold behind the ankle. Once it's there, push the leg out into your hand. That's why the hand goes underneath and to the other side, so you have something to push against. And you still have weight in that foot as well. The leg comes back and we'll inhale, lift up and lower it back down. So as the leg lifts up, we still want that knee facing the ceiling. And then we'll make those big circles where you try to get to the wall behind you and the front of the mat. And it's coming from the hip. So the leg is straight, right? The knee is not bending. It's not locked either. It's not, super tense. Now reverse. Notice if that foot is in the front is starting to come off the mat, and if it is, put it back down. Stir everything around in your belly. I love this because it really gets the circulation going in that digestive tract. Oops. Had a little burst of energy there. All right, so to do the other side, you would just pull yourself up using your arms and flip over. So I really like doing against the wall because it lets me know where I'm cheating when I'm just out on an open mat on the floor. It's a good way to keep myself honest. So again, I just took time to get my elbow, my head, my shoulders, my hips. I brought my legs out to that obtuse angle, and I'm really stretching out of my hips. Bring the hand down to press into it. I'm also, this bottom leg, I'm pressing it down into the mat as well. All right, so front and back, we'll swing it forward and back. And so I'm using my hip joint to let the leg swing like a pendulum, but I'm challenging it in a different gravitational load than when I'm standing and walking, right? It's just as if this is the same leg motion that would happen if I was walking, right? My knee would bend and I'd send it forward. It's helping us to learn that our legs really move from our center, right? Good, and then we'll bring the leg together. All right, so after we've done 10 of those, we'll rotate that top leg so the knee goes to the ceiling, keeping that bottom leg pressing down into the earth. I'll lift up and bring it down. When I bring it down, I'm going to really stretch it out of the hip, reaching it nice and long. And after we've done 5 to 10 of those, let's go to circles where we come back, tap the wall, and we come forward with it. Again, the forward motion is as far as we can keep everything organized. Good. When we want to reverse, we always come back to the hips or the heels together, the hips stacked. Again, we're always taking that couple second pause to check in. So coming forward, up and back. one more. Okay, so now we'll step it in for inner thigh lifts and circles. Where the foot's on the ground, the legs pressing into the hand. Inhale, we'll lift it up, and exhale, we'll pull it back down. Big circles, front of the mat and back of the mat. Good, we'll reverse it. Reaching it back from the hip, right? So that knee is staying straight. Good. All right. So a little side kick series to help keep the legs toned, to keep the hips opened, and to really bring home attention that we have a hip joint, but the leg can swing around it, and that it comes from our center, from our belly. I hope that you like this series and that it helps you create balance within your body. Thank you so much for supporting my life's passion. Namaste.